Hello and welcome to the Slapshot Syndicate podcast. Be sure to subscribe for more content, and whilst you're at it, go and follow our social media pages. They're on screen now. Now, on to the episode.
Hello everybody, welcome back to the Slapshot Syndicate. Today we're joined by one of the top players in the NIHL National Division, Hull Seahawks, assistant captain and league's reigning MVP, Owen Sobchak. Owen had an incredible 24-25 season, putting up 115 points in the regular season and 16 more in the playoffs. He played a massive role in Hull's fourth place finish and electrified the league, and he's along with his line mates Bobby Chamberlain and Emil. Owen's just re-signed for the Seahawks at the end of last season for the coming campaign, and we're buzzing to talk about his year, how he feels the team got on, his chemistry with the top line, and what's to come. So first off, Owen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. We've been trying to get together for a while now, and finally it's come all through together, so we're good to go.
Yeah, we had the pleasure of seeing you at the Coventry finals, and it was amusing to see you going on the ice to pick up your MVP trophy, and obviously, giving some of the MK fans a bit of stick as well.
Should have been us who were out there, but we'll worry about that another day.
Well, first off, we just want to say huge congrats on a brilliant season for you personally. So looking back now with some distance, how would you sum up everything that you and the Seahawks achieved last season?
Yeah, on a team level, I think if you ask anyone on the team, I think we kind of underachieved. We put goals out there at the beginning of the year, and I think one of those goals was winning a trophy. And if you see the results, we didn't win a trophy. So underachieved there. I think the guys as a team, like as a group, it was a great group. Like everyone got on with each other. I think if I were to phone anyone on the team right now, they'd answer, and same with anyone else on the team. So that's always good to know when you're moving forward and moving on in life. Like you met some real good buddies and guys that you'll be able to call friends for a while. On the hockey side of things, personally, I think I did all right.
All right.
Won a couple awards, but at the end of the day, you don't really play for yourself. You kind of want to bring something back to Hull and the team and the organization, and I think that'll be the goal next year moving forward. Just trying to do what I can to help make that possible, if that makes sense.
Well, I had sort of a little follow-up question, and I think you've sort of answered it there, but I want to delve into it a little further. So obviously you say about the goals at the start of the season. So you say that the main goal was obviously to bring a trophy back to Hull, and Matty's been really clear with that, which us as fans is music to our ears, isn't it? That just shows to us that you and the team don't want to sort of settle and just be there to compete kind of thing. How did that sort of come about at the start of the season? Does Matty make himself really clear in what he expects as a team and when he's recruiting players, or how does it sort of feel when you just maybe missed out on that? Like, can you sort of give us that whole perspective?
I think guys coming to Hull should already have that in mind. Like a lot of people already know Matty and what he's done in the hockey world around here.
Yeah.
Got leaders like Bobby Chamberlain. I think he's won a lot of trophies previously. You have Jason Hewitt on the team as well. Like these guys have all won something. They set that standard pretty high, and people should know that the hard work that Matty and Joe put in off the ice and their families and all the stuff behind the scenes, that it's kind of unacceptable for us not to want to win. Obviously he's going to say like we're here to win, but you should already know that coming into it. And I think that's also one of the reasons why the guys got on so good together. We had that same goal in mind. And obviously, we let ourselves down, we let them down. But at the end of the day, you got to learn from it, move on, and hopefully bring something better next year.
So despite how things ended for the majority of last season, obviously Seahawks look like one of the hottest teams in the league, having a nice little run at times, challenging some of the top teams and really flying at the league. What do you think sparks those stretches of form?
I just say, I think the most times that we went on those roles is when we played those derby games, whether it be Leeds or Sheffield or teams at the top of the table. We kind of found ourselves getting up more for those games rather than they were going away to Bristol or going away to Bracknell or Berkshire, whatever their name is, or whatever their name was. I think it's just form at times. Like you saw our results, we'd win 4 or 5, and we lose 2 or 3. Then we had that 7-game lose streak in October, November. That kind of puts a few steps back. But you take away that 7-game losing streak, we're right there at the top. And I think it's just the compete level that people bring each day and training to practice. Matty, his attitude, it's just that we're capable of winning. Just we should want to do it. I think that's when you see those results come. Like you get into a roll, like okay, we won this weekend, 4 points. Next weekend, another 4. Just comes like habits, just like riding a bike. You're used to winning, and that's why you see the MKs, the Leeds, those teams. I don't even think losing crosses their mind. They're like, 2 games this weekend, we're going to get those 4 points.
Yeah.
So I think once we get to that level, then yeah, we'll be right there.
What do you think, if anything, held the team back this year, especially when we went through that sort of bad spell where we couldn't win on the road? Was there anything in particular that you think could have changed, been better to help us push deeper into the season, being there or thereabouts?
You can always look back at it and be like, oh, we should have done this, or we should have done that. But I think it's just an individual mindset for each player going into these away games. Like majority of the games we won were Sunday at home. And that's after a loss on the road. Like guys realize like, oh, we just lost yesterday. Like, what are we doing? We know we're better than that. If we can take that Sunday mindset into the Saturday first game, then you're looking at a 4-point weekend. Because coming to Hull, no team really likes to do that, and that makes it a lot easier for us if we're winning both games.
Yeah, so obviously missing out on the Coventry finals after the playoff run we had, how tough was that to take, especially after the regular season you had personally? You had a phenomenal season. You got the top points. Was it a bit of a bitter pill to swallow not getting there?
Yeah, and definitely being up in that second game at home against Leeds for 5 minutes. So that's like missed opportunities where we could have stepped on their throat essentially and won that game, and then just would have had one game against Telford and we would have been in. But again, can't go back in time. Hopefully a lot of the guys that are returning also feel how I felt, and that's kind of disappointed and upset, and hopefully it kind of makes them want to be better, get better over the summer, improve their game, whether it's in the gym or on the ice. And hopefully the new signings that we sign come in and have that mentality that we're here to win, and time's now.
Just to jump in here. Do you think that, although obviously no one ever wants to have a season like that, do you think that that's quite a valuable experience for some of the younger players on the team? The third line, for example, were really young, and that might be one of their first experiences of sort of being in that push. And, some other players in the team might not have been in that same situation. Do you think that's valuable for them going forward as well?
Yeah, definitely, because you got to live it and learn it. You're not just going to come into the league at 17 and win a trophy every year. You got to lose before you win. I haven't personally won the team trophy since I was about 13 or 14, so kind of keeps me wanting to put my best performance out, help the team the way I can. And some guys might not ever win, and some guys will win every year. It's just you gotta take or make the most of it when it happens, and when you have those opportunities, don't let it slip by because you don't know.
Yeah, of course. And obviously you mentioned, you can't go back in time. So essentially, in fact, you just got to move past it and move on. But what do you think it'll be an easy thing to move past and use as sort of fuel to the fire heading into the new season? Do you think, okay, we've maybe underachieved from our capabilities last season, but we're going to use that as fuel to move forward?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the guys that have signed back and group that's coming back with the new additions, it'd be stupid to say like a lot of us aren't pissed off, and that's what you want going into summer. Whereas if you win over the summer, you might not get in the gym, you might not get on the ice, you might not care about it. And then all those cup games at the beginning of the next season, you're not really ready for, and you're already missing out on one opportunity to win a trophy.
Yeah, I remember when we spoke to Matty, he said he wants a team of sore losers, essentially, because he wants them to be able to look at it and think, I never want to be in that position again. So I think that fits the bill of what he's trying to build there.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, it's like bully in school taking your lunch money and then spending it right in front of you. You're like, what am I going to do to get that money back?
And I think as fans, you say there about a bunch of guys that are pissed off, and we had full expectations last season of you guys making Coventry. So with that core already there, like you say, with all those re-signings that we've made, as well as the the additional import and other factors where Matty might think, right, actually, I'm going to try and put some players here. Like, I think for fans, we can all agree that that's going to make for an amazing show every week, seeing a bunch of pissed off Seahawks turning up and wanting those 4 points every weekend.
Yeah, as long as we stay out of the penalty box, I think we'll be all right there.
We'll have to put a lock on it. So one of the things that we wanted to sort of delve into as well was particularly, your season and how well you did. But a big factor of that was the sort of the line chemistry that you had, and your line in particular. So obviously you mentioned earlier about Bobby, but you, Bobby and Emmy I'll say you hit the ground running, didn't you, straight away? And over the course of the season, you combined for over 300 points between you. Obviously, that's like one of the most dominant lines in the league, if not the most dominant in terms of numbers. The first question, I guess, that we've got is what made your trio work so well?
I would say Bobby has a huge thing to do with that. His mentality of always wanting to be the best and like pushing to be the best. When I see that, it's just like kind of hard to want to lose to him. I got to keep up with him, and like if I'm going to play my best, he's going to play his best. And you got Emil there with one of the best shots in the league. Going to motivate him to want to put the puck in the back of the net. I think what Bobby did last year in the summer after his injury and being out like a few months, like I think it was after February when he hurt his shoulder in the semi-cup final against Leeds. He kind of took a step back, and then over the summer he went on a workout program in Maddie and came into the season like the best shape of his life or close to. When I see that sitting in the locker room, like I gotta keep up with that. So it kind of motivates me to be better. And then you got Emmy there, just like, yeah, give me puck, I'll score. So it kind of all worked out in the end.
You can definitely tell, can't you, that Bobby's attitude is like infectious. If you could bottle that up, people would buy it for thousands, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
You can see how much it means to him to play for Hull, and obviously when he came back the other season, it was amazing for all the fans, wasn't it? And like you say, Emmy's just a natural like goal scoring, amazing. And I think that the trio of you was fantastic, and all the fans will agree. Do you feel like, I know obviously you came in midway through last season, so obviously you had a bit of time there as well, but again, you said about Bobby and his shoulder injuries and stuff. Do you think that the chemistry between you three was instant, would you say, or do you think it's something that evolved over the course of the season? Do you think the more you played together, the more the confidence rose? Like, how do you feel in that sort of?
Yeah, I think even still now we're learning off each other. I think at the beginning it was kind of just letting the hockey senses take over, and knowing that Bobby's going to go win every loose puck, and if I get open, he'll give it to me, and then he's going to the front of the net, and Emmy's somewhere open, even though he's 6'5", like he's floating around somewhere. But if you find him the puck, he's going to hopefully shoot it, and majority of the time if he shoots it, it's going in, or there's a rebound there for Bobby to put in. But yeah, I think even now the chemistry's still growing. Skating like once a week throughout the summer, Bobby and I. So we're on the ice still. I'm feeding him so he can score goals. I just think with any good line, that's what you do. It takes reps and getting to know each other, and that's what we plan on doing.
Yeah. If you fancy a laugh, we'll come down and skate with you.
Just stand us free in the goal, and I think you'll still score. Target practice.
Yeah. So Bobby's obviously the captain, and you've got the ear. What's the leadership dynamic like between you guys on and off the ice?
Yeah, I'd say Bobby's more vocal guy. I don't sit back, but I like to let him get his words out. And then the odd time when maybe his voice is getting a little too much, or he's been saying the same thing over and over, I'll like to pipe up a little bit and reinforce what he's saying, because what he's saying is true. You got to back 100%. But sometimes it's just how you go about presenting that to other guys in the room. They like to hear a second voice, and even Huey, like he was wearing a letter as well. He would step up often, being an older guy. Hopefully, he doesn't get mad at me saying that, but he's a little bit older. He's been around the block a few times, and he knows hockey. And Matty doesn't want to come in the room and yell and shout all the time. He kind of gave the room to us players, and we tried to say what he was thinking without being harsh on guys. But sometimes you have to be harsh, and when you're on a 6-game losing streak, that's when sometimes teams will turn on each other. But we stuck with it and kind of got back in the fight. Just goes to show that voice that Bobby has goes a long way. He's been everywhere. He's won games. He's won trophies, and not willing to listen to him. I don't think you're really willing to listen to anyone.
Obviously, during the playoffs, with Bobby being injured, you sort of stepped up to the actual captain position there, and obviously went on that unbelievable run. I think you got back-to-back hat tricks or something like that. How did you find that sort of period where you was like the captain when Bobby was out? Was it again just you leading by example on the ice and putting up the points?
Yeah, I tried my best to lead by example. I think there's back-to-back hat tricks, but
So that's bad.
Sorry, I've short-sold you there.
Yeah, Bobby, obviously a huge loss for us, but then again, it's next man up mentality. Gave opportunities for people like Johnny Cornell to step up on our line, and pretty sure he was second on our team in points for playoffs, so gave him the opportunity to show what he can do, and we all knew he had it in him. But yeah, obviously, when we're losing 4-1 to Telford or whatever it was at home that one day, or on the Saturday before he went away to Telford, kind of got a little vocal and told guys to get in gear. And like, obviously, I'm gonna talk when I need to, but you should know at that point, if you win 2 games this weekend, chances are you might be able to get into Coventry. It's not much that needs to be said. Like, guys should want to do it.
Love that.
Yeah, I must say, to be honest with you, if it's like yourself coming in that dressing room, and although you're putting up massive points and you're giving me a bit of a bollocking, I'll tell you what, I'd go out there and I'd probably die for you, to be honest.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next year.
It's really interesting to hear what you said about Johnny there, actually, because again, he sort of seems like one who goes about his business showing by example. But I think that for Seahawks fans, they'll be so happy to hear that. You guys, obviously, it means so much to you guys as well, because it's easy for us to say, it means a lot to the Hull boys because they're from Hull. But the fact that you've just said there that you're embracing that captain's role, and Johnny's in there, shouting about it and trying to get the lads up for it. It's great to see that, you guys aren't here just to sort of like, focus on your own game. It really, I think for us that means so much more, don't it?
We can only ask for players, like you say, you guys as imports coming in. If you can instill the passion that us as locals and fans have, then we can't ask for much more than that, to be honest. So it's great to hear.
Exactly, and you even see that with Johnny re-signing back. Like, he knows what he got himself into, and he's more than happy to come back, and he's excited to see what the future brings. And I think if he was upset and didn't believe we're capable of winning, he had a lot of options to go other places. But back here, and I think you'll see an even better Johnny next year.
Yeah. So obviously, there's not been an official word on Emil's return yet, so we won't go into that too much or giving too much away. But from your perspective, how important was he to the line's identity and the team's overall success?
Yeah, he like Matty said throughout interviews, what you notice or what you might not have noticed is how much his defensive game improved over the season last year. I don't think that first year I was in Hull, I seen him take a hard stride in our own defensive zone or past even our own red line.
He was on the blue line, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Waiting for a taxi. I think he realized that the league's getting better, and he wasn't able just to float around like he once might have been able to. And he's such a big body. If he does get his legs moving, such a dominant force, and he put a puck in his corner. He knows in his head now he can go in the corner and win that battle. It's just if you have the puck on your stick, you're a bigger threat. So why not go get it? I think Matty Maddie like did a real good job, not transforming him, but just maybe igniting a new talent that he maybe forgot he had.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we noticed straight away, obviously having seen Emmy there for a few years, we noticed straight away last season that how his game was adapted when he was taking the puck down, the boards. You fully expected like 9 times out of 10 he would have taken the shot, but he wasn't as much. He was looking and finding the pass and getting into the crease, and that straight away seemed to work, didn't it? I think some fans ironically, was quite frustrated when they could see he had a shot on and he wasn't shooting, knowing what a shot he's got. But then, as things started, I think he went through a period where he was going through that adjustment, and then when it started clicking, it was just like something to behold. Really, as fans, we could see, how coming back to you, Bobby, and the Johnny, some of the other teams players he was playing with, how he was just knitting in really well, and he was looking for them passes and getting it across goal where you might be heading towards the back post and getting goals from that. So it was really really good to see, and we sort of back what you say. What Matty's done there to Emmy's game is nothing short of transformational, really.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not gonna learn or switch your game overnight. You're gonna take time to do that transition. And yeah, he might have went through a drought for say 4 or 5 weeks, but if you look at his numbers after the last 3 years, he's been at the top of the table every season. Like you can't expect to be the best every year. And even then this year he's right there. So even though he had that drought, just give him time. Just wait. He's learning, he's adapting, and he's gonna overcome it.
It's an absolute testament to him, especially considering the first season. And I sort of we had a discussion a while back, and obviously because we was only allowed 2 imports in his first season, it was almost like a don't get Emmy involved in anything, don't go hard, because I think it was a big no-no, wasn't it? Like you can't lose an import because otherwise, like the other team has a big advantage. And I think the fact that we then went to 3 imports and now 4 imports just allows the imports to sort of be more expressive and free with that. And obviously, Matty, he wants every player to be putting the life on the line. And the fact that Emmy sort of got lit off the lead a little bit there to sort of get that side of his game, because I mean, there was definitely more aggression in his game, wasn't there, this season? But that's fantastic. That's exactly what we want to see, and that's really good. But we'll move away from Emmy and Bobby, and again we'll go back to yourself. And we sort of want to chat to you about your re-signing for this season. So obviously you're officially back. They didn't wait to announce you. Obviously that was the back end of last season, which was fantastic, and we all can agree, can't we? The whole arena was absolutely elated to sort of have you back, and it was just thrilled to obviously when the news dropped. So first kind of question is, what made staying in Hull the right move for you?
I think well, when I signed the extension, it was like 2 weeks or so after I first got here. And it kind of didn't take me long to realize what Maddie and Joe were trying to build off the ice. Like it's a family-run team. Like their wives, their like parents, everyone's there involved, helping behind the scenes. And Maddie and Joe both played sports at a high level. You know what it takes to win stuff. They're not there just to collect money or don't talk to the players. They're there to like succeed. And when you come over from different country, yeah, some players might come and use it as like a stepping stone to go somewhere else, but some players might come over and want to win something. And I think as I'm getting older, and I was getting older then, my goal was to win something. And I think Maddie just showed his dedication and his thoughts on what was going to happen and the goals and what he expected from the team. And if you're willing to compete for him, he's going to compete for all his players and put the best team on the ice. And I think last year we had a chance at winning. Year I got here, we had a chance at winning playoffs and the cup final. We're having those chances, just taking that step over and actually following through and winning a trophy. It's what made me want to continue here and hopefully keep on getting those chances.
So it was a quick decision then. It didn't take much time for you to weigh up your options.
No, and I think like Maddie and I, before I even came over here, is kind of on the table that one of the reasons why I would come is that opportunity might come up. And I think having 14 points in the first 4 games, Maddie was kind of realized what he had, and yeah, it's history now.
So obviously we've seen a lot of re-signings already in the off season. Do you think the core returning gives you guys a real chance for the build up into the new season?
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest one, hopefully knocking on wood, Davey Phillips. Hopefully all his injuries are gone and out the way. I think he was a big loss last year. You saw when he hopped in that playoffs after being off for 12, 13 weeks and playing against the best team in the league leads. He should have won both those games. Just shows the difference of a D-man like him. And he has a lot of experience as well. And having a younger D-core after him, he's able to teach and guide those younger guys. And hopefully they take the next step as well. And yeah, forwards up front. Yeah, we'll have the best top 6 forwards in the league, so I'm not too worried there. Just all putting it all together and getting something out of it.
Yeah, well, I think this one's going to be fairly obviously, an answer that we could guess because of the hunger that you've obviously displayed now. But does the group feel like there's unfinished business, especially after missing out on the Coventry finals?
Yeah, I would say so. And if someone were to say different, I think they won't be around too long because we're here to do a job essentially, and that job is unfinished. That's how I look at it, at least. I'm sure others look at it the same. And if, I don't know, if we don't bring back a trophy this year, at least have a chance at winning a trophy, then I don't know what's going on. Something's wrong.
Yeah. So obviously looking ahead now, what are your personal goals for the upcoming season? Is it about, pushing the points total again and making sure you're on the top of that leaderboard? Maybe taking more of a leadership role or just chasing that silverware down?
I think trophies at this rate. Haven't won a league or a playoff or a cup or anything like that. Won everything else. I think now, and what has been my goal since getting to all those winning trophies, and that's just giving back to all my teammates and all the fans. Like, better to win something as a group than win individual awards. I think no one's going to remember 125 points I had, but everyone's going to remember that 2026 year that Seahawks won the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. So after obviously from your perspective, the season you had last year, do you feel any pressure to try and repeat that success, or is it more you focused on trying to maybe evolve your game and contribute in other ways?
Yeah, obviously want to evolve. Hopefully keep more pucks out of the net when I'm on the ice. Also individually, you want to always get better. So if I can beat my points by 1 next year, then I'll be happy there as well.
We will be as well.
Yeah. I think if I were to do that, it might help us having a chance at winning something. But yeah, at the end of the day, trophies are what matter, and it's a team trophy that means the most.
So, I mean, in terms of the team, and obviously you just touched on individually and stuff like that, you've played with some real characters this season. Who, sort of on a lighter note, who were the guys in the room that kept things loose or lifted spirits when things got tough?
I'd say I'm up there. I like to keep things light in the dressing room, make guys laugh, get a story here or there. Besides that, Emmy, you don't know what you get with Emmy. One day he's the happiest guy in the world. The next day, don't talk to him or else he'll try and fight you in practice. Who else is a good one? Josh is also up there actually now that I think about it. Whatever he gets talking. You can only understand half the words he's saying, but
we obviously saw the interview that Matty said about there was a few antics on the ice which sort of kick-started that rerun with Emmy and Slice, I think it was. Is that right? And Fish had to step in, and Slice was then fuming at Fish for stepping in and things. But that Matty said that he wanted that. Is there any sort of funny or standout locker room moments from the season that you can share? That obviously PG.
Yeah. I think in training you don't want to get on Bobby's bad side. Because he'll let you know, and he'll let you feel it if you're in the way or you're in the wrong place that you should be, or if you give him a pass too far behind, too far in front. Um, Besides that, who knows? I know. I don't know. I think I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could
Stay
tell
out of
by your
trouble.
eyes you was like, no, I'm gonna get in trouble here.
Yeah.
So obviously we've talked about yourself and Bobby as captains and assistant captains. Is there anybody else that nobody probably consider that is a bit more vocal and likes to G up the team a little bit?
Yeah, Johnny's right there. He's been a leader when he played in the juniors. Captain of an OHL team. He has that get up and go. He knows how to motivate players. Um, Roots as well. He's not too vocal, but he shows up every training. He puts work in. He's wanting to get better. Like he doesn't go unseen that he's a leader without being a leader. Even for the like the younger core on our team, I think a lot of his like buddies look up to him and what he's done. He's played GB. He's captain at one point. I think that goes a long way without being noticed. Sorry. Um, well, I think when we had Death back, he wasn't so vocal, or wasn't vocal in a positive way, but you could tell when he was on the ice that he did want to win, and that goes a long way.
From
Yeah,
from our
John,
from our perspective, how much did Huey bring that to the team? There was a lot at the start of the season. There was a bit the fan base was a bit split, but straight away Azza was straight on it. Like, lads, this is a great signing. This one, yeah.
Yeah, the experience that he brings and knowledge, you can just see it.
exactly. And I think that goes without saying. He's won trophies. I don't know how many games lately. He's done it all. He's stood up for his teammates. He scored big goals. Like I said earlier, if someone you're going to listen to on the ice, it's him. And there's a reason why he's saying what he's saying. He's seen it all. He's still playing at the age he's playing. Obviously, he loves the game. He loves the sport. He's trying to give back to the sport and to his teammates. So if you're not willing to listen to that, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah. And obviously from the outside, it really looked like, Matty has the group, the full team bought into what he's trying to achieve there, and obviously what you guys are trying to achieve yourselves. But what's the relationship like with him as both the coach and general manager? Obviously with him having like the ownership hat on and the coach hat on. Do you find that that's easy to navigate, or sometimes quite difficult?
I think it's easier on the players to navigate, whereas for him, that'd be extremely difficult to manage those relationships and knowing that half those guys in the room he's been on a team with playing with before. So essentially, they're his mates, and he has to separate being mates with those guys and coaching those guys and maybe firing those guys one day. Like, it's just, I wouldn't want to deal with that because you question yourself, like, oh, is this player not good enough anymore? But I'm going to keep him around to because I'm his mate, or my mate's not getting a lot of ice time, and we hang out in the off season. Like, it would be extremely difficult, and I think he'd be able to answer that better. For me, it's for any player, it shouldn't matter. You're trying to impress your coach and your general manager at the same time. Makes it a little bit easier because it's just one person.
Yeah, I mean, there's a saying, isn't there, where normally it's a jack of all trades or a master of none, but Matty seems to be the opposite of that. He seems to be able to master all of his trades.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like even say that like you only been coaching what 3 years now. Like this
Yeah,
coaches that have been around for 20, 30 years and still haven't figured it out. So it's obviously going to take time,
it's true.
and it's a lot taking on. Also being like an owner of the team as well. Like this is essentially his baby. And he wants to see it succeed. So if it doesn't, then he almost takes it personally and like it's all his fault. But we can all see that he's trying his hardest and he's trying his best to perform and give us the best opportunity at winning.
And do you find that has a big impact on your game, especially as one of the leaders in the group? Do you think he relies on you quite a bit, as well as obviously some of the other leaders?
Yeah, and so it should. There's a reason why he picked us to be leaders, and I don't think he would have put us as captains and assistant captains if he didn't believe in us and think we're the ones that can help motivate and get the other guys going. And I think he's played enough hockey to see what guys say they want to do something and what guys say they want to do something and actually do it. I think with Huey, myself, and Bobby, we're three guys that are going to back up what we talk and hope the guys jump on board.
I love that. So obviously, still on Matty, in terms of his role, and he obviously is a massive presence around the club with being a coach and GM. But what it must add a little bit extra to be part of a team where the coach is also a former player and also obviously is so closely connected to the league and the area. He obviously was with us for the first half of the season, first season, sorry, but obviously had to slow down because of his injury problems and things like that. But I think the passion that he had on the ice translated into the coaching straight away. So how does that sort of feel to be part of a team with a coach like that?
Well, it goes to show he gets major knee surgery, and then a few hours later he's on the big screen on the ice and get going, boys, on the big video. So it just goes to show like most people be rested, like not too worried about anything else, just like getting better for the first 24 hours after major surgery, and he's watching the game, probably yelling at his laptop in the hospital. So it shows the passion's there for sure.
And do you think his experience as a player makes it easier to trust his system? Obviously, he's won so much as well in the league, hasn't he? And so how does that influence, the dynamic between him and the locker room? Are the young lads and the players around him thinking, well, we know that he's been there and done it, so we need to buy into this?
Yeah, I think everyone's always going to have their own opinion in the back of their head, like, oh, we should be doing this, we should be doing that. At the end of the day, it is his team. Like any person in the work field, like if your boss says to do something, you do it. Like it shouldn't be questioned. There's a reason why he's saying it. He's watched enough video, he's seen enough hockey, he knows what's going on. And if we were to follow through on what he says and do what he says, it would probably lead to success. And it's those games that we lose is when we get away from what he's telling us to do. And you can see it firsthand. We listen, we win. We don't listen, we lose.
I just wanted to ask one last question on your teammates. So obviously we've spoke about the core and things like that, which has really got us excited, and for those re-signings. But we've also got some new blood in. Obviously Ethan's signed up. We've got Spraggs back, which is great. We've just signed Callie Robertson from Solway, who we saw on your Instagram story that you was pretty impressed with. And then obviously our latest import, Geordie. So have you had the chance to sort of speak to those guys yet, or have you got much experience of playing with those guys or against those guys, obviously? What do you think to those signings so far?
Yeah, I think they're all good signings for sure. I think the new import, Dollard, he's pretty good mates with Johnny. They played 3 or 4 or 5 years together in university. Nice. So I think there's going to be chemistry right away between those two. Callie, yeah, he's a beauty. Quiet guy off the ice, but on the ice, he'll run through a wall if he has to. Played with him when I was in Bristol. I think he had over 30 goals there. So he's a fast player. He knows how to finish. Can't really complain about that. And yeah, Spraggs, every time he posts a story on Instagram, I let you comment, remind him to get in the gym because he's not big enough yet. But he'll be a good player for sure. You could see towards the end last year, he was already hopping up in plays, like jumping up, making a difference on the ice. And full season of that, it's going to be pretty interesting to see. And I think a lot of guys will be surprised at how good he actually is. And then Hare, I haven't really met him personally. Played against him in Leeds, comes from a winning team. He's come from a good coach, good character. I'd be surprised to see if he changes his game at all, because what he's been doing there, it's obviously helped him win. So it's never a bad signing when you bring a winner in.
That's true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so before we go into our sort of closing segment, I've just got a couple of light-hearted questions for you. So obviously this episode seems to be based a lot around chemistry and relationships. Who for you is the one you've got the biggest bromance within the team? Who is your go-to guy when things have gone well or gone bad?
Who knows? I don't know. I'm pretty good with everyone. Like, I like to socialize. I like to remind Bobby when he's on goal 48 that he's 2 away from 50. He should probably pick it up a little bit. He likes to remind me in practice that I need to keep my head up. So there's a good romance there. I lived with Johnny, Callum, and Emil last year, so seeing those guys every day, you're obviously going to be best buddies with them. Stay in touch, obviously. Brooks is he's getting up there. He's more of a quiet guy. He's always busy though. You should ask him why he's always so busy. But yeah. Besides that, I always make it a thing to at least talk to everyone while I'm at the rink. See if they enjoy it, and if I can do my part and make you laugh or make you excited for training or scoring a goal, why not do it? Like, it doesn't affect me in any way or not.
Yeah. So we'll go into some closing questions then.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, go on.
He's got a couple more light-eyed.
Just another one for you. So obviously the points you've tallied up this season, was there any sort of goals or assists where you enjoyed it the most this season? Because I can tell you now, there was a few times in that stands where I saw you do some unbelievable things, and I was on the floor in the seating area. So, is there any moment during the season where you've scored or assisted, and you've just sort of nodded of appreciation to yourself and just says, "Yeah, that was a bit of a joke." That.
Don't want to sound like.
You don't need to be humble here. Just tell us, tell us what you want to hear.
Everyone knows how good you are, Owen. Come on, we don't need to be humble now. Let's just think back to this season. What's that goal where if you think about this season, what's that first goal that pops into your head?
Well, goals, there's not too many of those. I think there's only 30, so those will be easier to remember. But I think maybe the one versus Bristol where got a pass from Johnny on the power play. Toe dragged 2 guys and walked it in behind the goalie. That was a nice one. Another goal that was honestly the one in Leeds, the playoff one, where it was I think it was my second goal. It was off the back glass and it's still bouncing behind the net, and I knew if I whacked it, I'd be able to hit gospel in the back somewhere and just hope it went in. But But the way I hit the puck is probably harder than any shot I've ever taken. So I was well, maybe I should get into baseball or something. But that was a good one. Nicest assist, I would probably say. Yeah.
There's so many. Honestly, we've. There was one. I can't remember which one it was now. To be honest, where you was literally in the stands falling down.
We like having a bit of a laugh and a joke, and you let out a yelp every so often, don't you? But there was literally one where Azza sunk into his chair, and his arms were up in the air like this, and we're me and Brad sit the row below Azza, but he's with his old man. But yeah, you make some unreal noises, even when you're in the centre of the ice and just taking it past people. He's like, "It's a joke. That's a joke."
Well, I'll try and keep that up for you. But going back to the assist, there was one assist that I don't think a lot of people know this, but it was, I don't know who it was against, but Bobby was backdoor on the hash marks, and I was in the corner, and I had to sauce it through one guy's legs and underneath another player's stick to get on Bobby's stick. And I was celebrating to myself. I was like, oh, that's freaking unreal. And Bobby's just fist pump and score. And I was like, nobody see the pass.
Everyone's skating over to Bobby, and you're like, come on, lads.
I was like, I couldn't do that again if I tried. The way it got off and then came to it. Nice. I'll try and find it somewhere.
What a joke. Okay, well, we'll go into some of these closing questions then now. So the first one of this is, after such a big year and looking forward to the season ahead, do you have a message for the Seahawks fan heading into the new season, and what can they expect, once that puck drops on the opening night?
I would say once the final team is released, there's a lot of pressure on us that we're going to win, and I feel as if that pressure is what we need because we all want to win. Stay patient if it doesn't click all at the beginning, but by come whenever playoffs are, is that March, April, we'll be right there in the runnings and hopefully be holding a trophy already before playoffs already start.
Love that.
Love it.
So, in terms of your off season, you've just obviously said earlier about you've skated with Bobby, which is music to our ears. But what is the off season plan for you? Is it rest and recharge, or straight back into prep? I know you've just been over to sunny Greece, haven't you?
Yeah, so went to Benidorm for a week with Johnny and some of the lads, and then went to Greece for a week. So got all my holidays out of the way for in May. So been back training a little bit now, and then I'm gonna go home in July for one of my best buddies' wedding back home. So we'll do that, and then obviously be skating back home with some buddies, and yeah, come back at the end of July and gear up in August to get going to win some hockey.
Love that.
Yeah, so when we potentially talk to you again at the end of next season, in your personal opinion, what would you see as a successful season for the Hull Seahawks this year?
Ultimate success is having 3 trophies. That would be team trophies. I'd say if we win 1 trophy, like, can't be upset about that. At least being there, getting to the dance is ideal, but if we're going to go there, you might as well win it.
Absolutely. Rate that.
What an attitude that is.
Definitely. Okay, so Owen, well, thank you very much for joining us. It's been fantastic hearing from you and your thoughts on the season gone by and what's to come. Best of luck in the off season and training. We'll be cheering you on as Seahawks fans all the way through the 25-26 season, and we really appreciate you joining us.
No, thanks for having me. It's took a little bit, but we got there in the end, and it went well. So yeah, thanks for having me.